Hey, before I kick off the podcast, I just want to shout out Next Door Clothing. Next Door, a clothing brand based out of Bondi in Sydney. They're making really nice jeans and shirts and hats. So go and check out their full range at nextdoorsydney.com. They're also artists, so you can go and check out a range of art. They put on rad parties, and I love what they're doing. So nextdoorsydney.com for the full range.
At least it's black.
At least it's
I wouldn't use that one.
Yeah,
I only wear black.
You don't like yellow?
No. Oh, no, that's not true. I like yellow on my boards. Yellow, red, black.
Really?
Yeah.
Have you ever heard of yellow being described as yummy yellow for sharks on surfboards?
No.
Mick Vading he had a yellow board when he had that little incident in JB. They were talking about
no more yellow.
Don't have to worry about that in Bali, though.
No, bro. Only Balian.
Balian.
Yeah, shark attack the other day.
Another one.
Yeah, Gumby.
Oh, man. Every time I catch the rights at Balian and you pop out in the river mouth and paddle back out, it's like so cool.
Same, bro.
It's creepy.
I paddle shallow.
I know. We good? Okay. You want to clap? Okay, so... All right, this is for Clementine and Otis. So become a Patreon of THT by clicking on the Patreon link in this episode's show notes. 10% of all Patreon subscriptions are distributed to the various charities that are advocated for by the guests on this show. Plus, you'll be supporting THT production and the show's ability to access guests who are qualified in their given field. THT aims to provide mental solace through the sharing of life experiences and the personal identification that it provides. However, THT also seeks to provide educational value by tapping into the expertise and skill sets of guests too. So, check out the THT Patreon and subscribe. As a listener of the show, you can find some value from the sponsors of this show by using the THT discount code. I'm very selective with who I choose to be affiliated with, and I love the following companies for their mission, purpose, and ethos. So head over to indosol.com. They're making sandals out of repurposed materials such as Tyres and discarded sneakers. Check out kingpinstore.com. They have the best range of skate shoes and hardware and skate decks. And also crushorganics.com, and they make the best CBD products. And if you use code THT at any of those places online, you'll get discounts and you'll be supporting the show. So thank you very much, everybody. Terrible Happy Talks. Terrible Happy Talks.
Yeah, good to be here, man. Whoa.
Submissive dominant lifestyle. 3, 2, 1. Alright, let's do this. Today's guest is Tim Morris. Tim is a father, surfer, sales and marketing manager at the Channel Islands Onboard store in Padang Padang Bali, an all-round amazing human. Do you feel? I feel it. You feel amazing. I get it.
Yeah, I do feel amazing. I live in Bali.
From surfing and snowboarding escapades to racing motorcycles in his younger years, Tim's zest for life is abundantly clear. And at 63 years of age, it doesn't look like he's slowing down anytime soon. Age is just a number, I think, for you, Tim.
Totally a number, bro.
Is that how it is?
Yeah.
I feel it.
Yeah.
Today, Tim joins me live and in person at his home in Uluwatu to share his journey, experiences, challenges, and hopes for the future. Tim Morris, welcome.
Thanks, mate. Thank you for coming to my home, man. Welcome.
Oh, man, thanks for having me. How did this home come about? Because it has one of the most epic views in Uluwatu that I've seen since in a long time. Like, let's work backwards. Like, how did you build this place? How did it all come about?
Look, this is a bit of a crazy story, like my life. I was working down at the store at Padang, and look, my life's about connections, friendships, the crew. I'm a big believer you got to have a posse. If you don't have a posse, you're in trouble. So I'm in the store, and my buddy who lives right here, Marcus, South African guy, beautiful guy, came in and said, I've found some land. I'm like, wow, okay, where is it? He goes, I can't tell you. It's like Bali, right? He's like, I got to sign the deal, then I'll show you. So I'm like, okay. So I'm waiting a month, right? He comes in, he goes, I can show you the land, right? So we come up here, And I'm like, oh, wow. Where do I pay the deposit, right?
Wow.
And I didn't really have the money at the time. This is like 6 months into the pandemic. So it's one of those life things where, you think, do I take a risk? Do I not? I'm a risk taker. So I threw down the coin, and he was like my land coach, right? He's like, bro, we'll just throw the money down. We'll do a little bit. We'll pay a little bit. We'll do the foundations. And then that sort of that's how it started. Like, I had a few moments, like in the pandemic thing, like we had no money here.
Yeah.
Like, it was crazy. Like you guys had all the money in Australia. We had none here. So...
no government bailouts?
No, nothing, man. I tried. I went online. They said, you're overseas. Yeah. So that didn't work. So I knew that wouldn't work. But look, this is a family kind of deal here. Like my daughter's involved, and we made this a family home. I lost my family home in Australia years ago, so that's another story. But I really wanted a home, and Bali's our home. So, I was like, I got Shell involved, and just boom, it sort of just grew, man. And then I'm still freaked out that I live here.
Man, I could imagine. So would you say it all evolved quite easily?
In fact, it did. Like I was so lucky. I have a Balinese contractor builder, Dewa, who's just a legend, like a really good, solid guy, So, we kind of had to abide by a bit of a, Bali principles. He went to the village, asked his dad what day we should start building, went through a whole process, ceremony, very different to Australia, obviously. And it just unfolded and developed, and we worked really well together because my design was to have like a what would you say, Balinese beach house style, but I wanted a bit of a Australian feel too, like home.
Yeah.
So I worked with him with his ideas, and we just flowed. Like, didn't have like over a year, like not one issue with the guy. Honestly, it's like, which is unusual in Bali.
I've heard. I've heard the stories.
We had some time delays, but like that's Bali. Welcome. Yeah. It's on Tuesday. Is that Tuesday next week or next year? Right. So look, honestly, like amazing, and we're still kind of freaked out that we live here.
Really?
Yeah, because we lived in a little small house down the road, a rental, and now we live in our own home, and it's like every day I come home, I'm like, I'm so grateful. I'm like, oh, wow.
Would you say you're in the best period of your life?
This is controversial, the last 2 years in the pandemic for us here in Bali has been probably the best 2 years I've had since ever. I was going to say seven. Maybe 70s was good. I must say 70s was good. But
I was born in the 70s.
Yeah, you're born in the 70s. So, look, honestly, yeah, man. It was like, honestly.
Why? Like, why would you say that's been the best 2 years?
Two good reasons. One, because people left, there was only a few of us left. So we had a real camaraderie. That's actually brought our community up here together.
Wow.
So we really started to rely on each other, and it got small. Like for us, expats, which they call us bullays, right? There wasn't many bullays. But also, my partner, my girlfriend is Balinese, and we got involved with the community a lot. And with her Yayasan, which is like a charity orphanage, she was helping feed people. And then the surf, there was no one in the surf. Like, I came here in 86, right? It was better than 86.
I can imagine.
Like,
really?
I wasn't here in the 70s. There was no one, dude.
Oh, my God.
It was like we were climbing down the cliff to surf. It was like...
In the 80s?
No, just in the pandemic.
Right.
Because they closed, they locked it a bit,
of course.
So we kind of had to, be resourceful.
I didn't know. I didn't realize that was happening as well.
Yeah. It was a period when it was actually locked. Like Ulus was locked. All the beaches were locked.
Okay.
So we sort of climbed down the cliffs on ropes.
It's hard to imagine.
Good. At my age too. It's crazy.
At your age.
I was like 61 climbing down a cliff with an 8.6.
I mean, at your age, I still feel like age is really irrelevant with
it's
you.
irrelevant, bro.
But You mentioned earlier, just before, like, that you're a risk taker. Has that been a theme throughout your whole life?
100%.
Why?
I don't know. I grew up in a family like Northern Beaches. We grew up at Coleroy, and my dad was a corporate banker. Mum was stay-at-home mum. I had a really mixed kind of family. So mum was into yoga and meditation, right, when I was a kid. Now, I used to come home from the beach embarrassed. Mom, you're freaking my friends out. Like,
Yeah.
what's with the yoga stuff, you know? Like, and now it's in vogue, right? Like,
So in vogue,
like, you know,
dude. So in vogue.
what do you do? I'm a yoga teacher. No, sorry.
Standard.
My girlfriend's a yoga teacher. But, and dad's a corporate banker. So I don't know, they wanted me to go to university and study and go into banking, and I love the beach. Like, I love the beach. And I remember my mum saying, you know, don't you go to DY. That's where all the surfers are, and they're drug addicts. So the next morning I rode my push bike to DY, right? Like, as a kid, like, it was a long way, you know? So right there, it was like, you know, it's just crazy because, you know, they had long hair and that look. And I was just mesmerized by that as a grommet. You know, I was like, these guys have got something going on. So it was going the opposite direction. But, you know, like my brother's a banker too. So it was like, and he's younger, but I was never going to do that. I said to my mum when I was young, I go, Mum, there's more chance of me being a bank robber than a banker. Please don't say that to your mother. She didn't like it.
She freaked out.
She freaked out.
Like when you reflect on your younger years as a kid, say from the ages of like growing up in that area from the age of like 0 to 10.
Yeah.
Those real innocent years.
Yeah.
How do you reflect on that time of your life? Good memories?
Yeah, good memories. It was very...
It's
in those days,
magical?
man, we used to we had to walk everywhere, right? So there's no cell phones. Like you had to walk to the beach, walk home. In those days, like on the beaches, like we used to go to this place over the back and camping, and it was just kind of innocent, man. Like it was good memories. School was good memories. Our friends, like, you know, I'm still friends with all those people. You know, it's good times.
Really? Still friends?
Yeah.
From your childhood?
Facebook's a good thing.
You think? Yeah.
For that.
Did you reconnect when when Facebook started?
Yeah.
Did you reconnect with a lot of them?
People started reaching out, and the original thing was posting old photos.
Yeah.
Some of the boys started posting photos of surfing at Narrabeen and Longreef and, you know, DY Manly, and it was like, you know, join those groups.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden someone will pop up that had moved from Sydney, and I was like, no way.
What are you doing?
What are you doing, bro? So it's like, it's connected us. I like that aspect with those platforms. Like, you know, in one way, you know, we all know they're kind of pretty addictive and can, you know, distract, but in another way, it's connecting. So,
what about school when you were a kid, though? Were you a good student?
School, look, like those younger years, you know, what we would call primary school, very cool, right? And then I went to Narrabeen Boys High.
Okay.
Right?
Was that public or private?
Public.
Public school.
Yeah.
Okay.
It was heavy.
Was it?
Yeah, bro.
It was way less regulated, wasn't it?
Totally. It was like just, I remember going there as a kid from this primary school that was very cool in our community at Coleroy Plateau. And then we went down to North Narrabeen, boys, and the girls were next door, and we weren't allowed to mix, even though we did. And it was just gnarly. There was lots of fights, and it was I remember as a kid, it was a heavy school.
Yeah. Think it caused trauma? Because like I often people sort of talk about their childhood and their school days as, oh yeah, there was fights in the playground and stuff. But in hindsight, because like I experienced a lot of that too growing up.
Yeah.
And in hindsight, I think it was like quite traumatic, seeing that a lot.
I think as a kid, like it definitely affected me. Like I remember watching, going, "Oh my God!" Like they'd say, "Right, lunchtime, we'll meet you down behind the wall, and it's going to be a punch on."
It's a punch on.
You know, and you're fighting Big John.
Yeah, right.
And you're grommet. It's like, you for real?
Yeah.
Like, oh man, it's just like, look, I don't know if did I bury it? I don't know. Look, I suppose the way I dealt with that, and a few of us, dude, we just cut school.
Yeah, right.
We used to go out the back gate of Narrabeen, and they had a surfboard manufacturing company, and then Wayne Warner and Cole Smith, Morning Star. So we'd go up and watch the boys shaping, and hang out. And then this is single fin days, right?
Yeah.
And then we'd go to Narrabeen and surf.
Is that when you started surfing? How old were you?
So I would have been, I must have been younger. I surfed younger. There was a neighbour of ours that surfed, this guy, a really cool guy, take me to DY on longboards. So, 9, 10, somewhere.
Yeah.
But the real deal was kind of school.
What do you mean?
Well, I could cut school and go surfing.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
It's like we left our boards at the beach. We used to leave our boards in those days in our buddy's mum's hamburger shop. We would just leave all the boards in the backyard.
Right.
They were safe.
So your mum had a hamburger shop?
No, friends.
Oh, friend's
mum, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So going through that period of your life, and then high school years, you said high school years were the sort of the boy, that was the boys' school, correct?
Yeah, boys' school.
Yeah, and you were cutting school a lot. I'm always really curious about that first year out of high school when you sort of step into adulthood. How would you describe that first year out of school? Can you remember?
Yeah, no, I remember well. Because I had a little thing before. Like my mum and dad took mum overseas when, I was 14.
Yeah.
And they sent us, I went to Kyogle, right, up the north coast, and went to school there for 6 months. Mum and Dad went for 6 months, right?
Right.
And just said to my brother and I, you're going to your grandma's and aunt and uncle. I'm like, what? Right? So we go to Kyogle. This is when Nimbin,
when it was in its heyday of
Dude, I was living in Kyogle when Nimbin came to town, which I liked.
And when it was a proper hippie commune?
When they did that Aquarius Festival.
Right.
So I don't know, is it 71? I don't know. Somewhere there. I can't remember. So we went to school up there. I had long blonde hair, right? And I went to school in Kyogle with the cow cockies and the pig farmers.
Right.
The boys hated me. They just want to beat me up, right? And it was good because the girls loved me.
Right.
So I had this kind of deal going for 6 months. And then Mum and Dad came home and I went back to Narrabeen and I could surf again. And then I left school and I just, probably more Dad. They wanted me to go to university. It just wasn't my thing.
Yeah, okay.
So I left home. I just said, I'm out of here. I was 16. So I just moved to the beach with the boys.
What'd you do? How'd you survive?
We just got to share a house and just
Did you work?
Oh, kind of. Not really.
Okay.
Kind of,
You're on the,
I was a bit of an
entrepreneur.
We're on the entrepreneur on the dole.
Entrepreneur at the dole.
Yeah. It was kind of I don't know. We just wanted to surf. In those days it was funny. I used to do odd, I'd go and work for a bricklayer.
Yeah.
We'd work for a guy that was a plumber. We'd work, but if it rained, it was days off and you could stay home and, smoke bongs or something and, hang out and then surf.
Yeah.
So we had this shared house, open door, no key, just for the crew. It was amazing. I loved it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's just so interesting to hear the 70s seem like such a magic time. I mean, I was born in 77, so I didn't really get to experience the 70s.
Yeah.
But in your opinion, if you had to compare that decade compared to present day, what do you think the fundamental differences were?
Oh, look, I think
in terms of Australian, because we're talking about Australian lifestyle and culture.
I think it was very free.
More free? Less regulated?
I can't remember. I've been out of Australia for a long time. What's it say in our national anthem? The land of young and free? Is that somewhere in there?
Yeah, home. Yeah.
Home. So it felt like this amazing place. There was a lot of work. You could work, opportunity or not work, and surf.
Yeah.
there was freedom. It wasn't the cell phones weren't there, the CCTV footage, the cops. Like when I was a kid, we'd get drunk and walk home, and the cops would pull up and be like, "What are you guys doing?" It's like, "Yeah, we're going home." And they're like, "Well, you guys better get home." And maybe they even give you a kick in the ass or something.
Yeah.
They wouldn't arrest you.
They wouldn't arrest you.
You wouldn't get a ticket or a criminal record. I can remember getting taken. We all got taken home by the cops one time.
Yeah.
Like we were kids, probably, 17.
Right.
We were a bit ruckusy down the beach, and they just drove us home and delivered us to the parents. That was kind of more heavy than maybe going to the cop shop.
Yeah, right.
That was a good thing.
But was it more dangerous though in some ways?
No, I don't think so.
Just because there was less control.
No.
Interesting.
Not in my experience, no.
You said you've been away from Australia for many years.
Yeah.
And we're talking about how, I mean, in my opinion, I think Australia is like over-regulated now. There's rules for everything. There's paperwork for everything. In Bali, there's probably maybe a little bit less of that in some ways, but I know it has other aspects of it. So, again, if we fast forward, like, is it those kind of things that draw you to being in Bali?
100%.
So you feel more free in Bali?
Oh, 100%, bro.
Like in the 70s?
Yeah.
Interesting.
I ride my motorbike. Zzz. You seen how many bikes I've got?
I know. It's nice.
I think I got 6 here. 3 in Australia.
So you said before you're a bit of a petrol head.
I'm a petrol head. Look at the cat, bro.
What do you like about
Chevy.
him?
Look, it's funny. When I grew up at the beach, right, you surfed, okay?
Yeah.
You didn't do the petrol head thing. That was the Westies.
Gotcha.
That was like the enemy, you know? But I don't know. There was a few of us that liked motorbikes. There was a couple of guys, like when Nat Young grew up at Coleroy, that rode motorbikes. A guy, I won't say surnames, Wayne, and another guy, Sid, right?
Yeah.
They had big motorbikes, long hair. They got all the chicks. There was just some, for me, this sort of magic. I used to look up to those guys and go, wow. Like just, I don't know, it was kind of cool. So I had this interest. And then my dad's brother, who came from, grew up more out west, loved Ducatis. So as a kid, I had this interest in motorbikes. And his girlfriend rode a motorbike. And I don't know. I love the surfing. I love the motorbikes. And then just had an interest in cars from a young kid. My mum's from the country. Yeah. So back at Kyogle, drive the old E8s on the farm.
Yeah, right.
I don't know. It just
good memories.
It just got in my veins. I got petrol in my veins and salt.
And salt.
Yeah.
And snow.
And snow.
So I know snowboarding is something that has been a big part of your story and you really love. Like, tell us about that. Like, how did you get involved with that and, you know, where did it all, that love for the mountains and snowboarding start? How old were you?
Look, that's late in life. Like I went skiing. Oh, man, I would have been 17. We went skiing at like Perisher or somewhere.
Yeah, right.
I hated it.
Skiing or just the snow?
Skiing.
Okay.
I didn't get the 2 sticks. I like surfboards, right?
Sideways. You like standing sideways.
I didn't like it.
Yeah,
I just didn't happen. And then, look, this is again the journey, right? So, you know, like my CV or resume, whatever, is so diverse. It's crazy. I got to split it up sometimes. So I'm working as a counsellor in a drug rehab in Manly Hospital.
Right.
Right. So, and I was a bit burnt out, and it's kind of heavy work. Like, you know, everyone's got trauma. Everyone's like from a split family. Everyone's been beaten up. Like the girls have been abused. Like you listen to that stuff for long enough, you want to jump out the window and just run down the road screaming, you know? So I was doing that stuff, which, don't get me wrong, I loved it. I really, there's part of me that really liked kind of helping people and, you know, and when you got you know, an outcome that was, you know, where people got their life back on track, amazing. Yeah. But some of the other stuff, very tragic. So I'd kind of had enough, and I just had this idea up one day up the top of the hill there at Manly. I was going to go and see a buddy of mine, Wes, down in Manly, because he'd been in the States. So, and I'm thinking, I need to change career, you know? You know how people here in Ubud say, put it out to the universe?
Yeah.
Look, I got a little bit of that. Not too much. Not Ubud stuff. Like
You're not the full Ubud. You're on
I'm not. I'm not.
You're on the Ubud
like,
spectrum.
This actually came from a buddy that lives out in the western suburbs. It's like he's way before Ubud. He was like an old gangster.
Right.
He goes, Tim. This guy named Wayne.
Yeah.
He's like, no matter what, you'll be looked after. Do the right thing.
So he was spiritual type?
Dude, he turned his life around. He went from like a
Hardcore
pretty
gang.
heavy guy to a really amazing guy. I met him working in the treatment centres. So he said, Tim, no matter what, you'll be looked after. So just put it out there. So I'm thinking I need a change. So I drive down to Manly to meet my buddy Wes, and I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, man, I just got back from the US. I've just got this new brands. I've got this brand called Volcom. I go, what's that? Like a heater? Is it like a new truck?
Yeah,
you know?
right.
He said, no, it's a clothing company. He says, and I've got Burton too. And I'm like, he says, do you want to come and work with us? And I'm like, oh, bro, yeah. Well, when do I start, right? So I started with, and the company was called Expression Sports. So we had Burton, Volcom, Nixon. And early days we were together, but as time went on, we had to split the brands. So I went to the snow side because I was a bit over, I kind of had this thing where I was a bit over surfing, got a bit commercial.
Yeah.
And it was like, with dropping in and everyone's like, blah, blah, you. And
Yeah.
you got a bit heavy.
Well, were you a bit repelled by the culture?
I just didn't like where it became everyone thought they were in a competition.
But it's still like that.
It's like
I
that.
had that today at Temples.
Yeah, like I bounced back, right? But I just went through a period of time where I thought, wow, because when I grew up surfing in the 70s, like we'd just go and smoke a fatty and go surfing and hang out and
Share waves.
It's like, go together. Like, it was crazy. So I got a bit burnt out on that and I went into snow. So I started working for Burton. And honestly, that was a pivotal point in my life and family too, right? So...
What do you mean family too? Is that when you started a family or?
No, my son was already born and my daughter was born 1 year before. So 1990, Shell was born. 91, I think, 92, I got involved with Burton. So I go to the snow and the boys, I'm into snowboarding, right? I'm not even really a very good snowboarder, like I'm a kook, right? But if you hang around with all those pros and those team riders for long enough, you got to improve. And it was closer for me. Look, it's probably more like skating. I liked skating when I was young, but I like the board sports, like on a board, right? And they called it that back then. Big companies started to go, hey, this is a board sports industry.
Yeah.
So the snow is no fun on your own. You're taking your buddies, and it's that kind of thing. You get to a good powder run, and you say to your buddy, you want to drop in first.
Yeah.
And you watch him ride down or he watches you. And I don't know, it's like the buddy system. And I just found that refreshing. And
More of more camaraderie, you think?
more camaraderie, more fun. And in those days, it was a bit antisocial too, right? So there was that other, snowboarders didn't like skiers didn't like snowboarders. It was kind of punk, like...
And you're drawn to that?
I like that.
Anti-establishment type of vibe?
Well, look at Volcom in those days, right? Yeah. That was on their slogan, anti-establishment. So, we had a lot of fun and we didn't have much money, dude. We used to Wes and I drive a troopy down to, Perisher, Thredbo, Falls, Hotham, Bulla, like we do all the resorts, back road, Snowy Mountain River, like we'd spend time away and then... then I started taking my daughter. Like I'm one of those crazy dads, I just took my daughter and I did all the good things. I taught her to ride motorbikes, shoot, snowboard, surf.
The things that you're into.
The things I'm into.
Because that's kind of what you got to offer your kid, right?
Yeah.
I've been thinking about that a lot lately.
Yeah.
Yeah. And she liked it?
She loved it.
Or she didn't have a choice?
Well, she can shoot pretty good.
Guns.
Yeah, which some people didn't like.
When we talk about shooting then, are we talking about hunting?
No, we'd go to the...
Aiming.
There's like at home, Terry Hill's Gun Club, you shoot the skeet things.
Skeets?
Yeah, so we'd shoot target or skeets or...
Okay.
I don't know. My dad taught me to shoot when I had guns when I was a kid.
Yeah, right.
In Australia.
Okay.
Yeah.
But not a hunter?
Not a hunter. No, I'm not. No, I'm not into it.
Yeah. That's funny. I was just talking about it with a friend this morning. It's ironic. It's just really strange that you brought up shooting. I never talk about shooting, and then two people today have talked about shooting.
Yeah, it's good. Like targets, I don't know. It's kind of just...
It's a skill set, geez.
It's just a skill set, you know. It's like, I don't know. So look, you know, the snow thing just blew up. It was like in those days, it just blew up, and surfers started snowboarding, and it just, for me, it opened up an incredible opportunity. Like I went to the US to sales meetings, you know.
Like for Volcom?
No, for Burton.
For Burton.
I went Burton route.
Okay.
And another really good friend, JC, who lives in Raglan now, he did the Volcom thing.
Okay.
So he headed that up.
Because then Volcom sort of went more in the surf skate direction, correct?
Yeah.
They didn't really get into apparel.
No, they did snow apparel.
They did some.
Yeah,
I remember seeing it, but it wasn't really...
No, it was kind of big. Like you had Terrier was on. Like the brands you wanted to be on was Volcom outerwear, Burton snowboards, Oakley goggles. Yeah. If you had that on, you were the man.
Gotcha.
I think Brian Iguchi was on that. So, you know, for all those old people out there that remember that they were the brands. And you know, another really good friend of mine, Neil Hardwick, was like number one snowboarder, a big air guy, Australia, really good buddy. He loves petrol. Gotcha. We're good mates.
All right, we go riding together,
dude. He's a man. He's like was a really good snowboarder. Had a kind of bad motorbike accident, ended his career. Then we raced motorbikes. We built motorbikes together. We love V8.
Yeah,
like 60s, 70s American muscle cars. Like so, Neil was in the snow scene. Still very good friends. Like camaraderie, the posse, right?
Gotcha.
So. You know, I enjoyed that thing in the scene, like in the skate, snow, surf scene. Like I reckon it saved my life.
Why? Why did your life need saving?
Because I was always edgy. I was always like on the fringe. I was kind of a bit antisocial as a kid. You know, I could have gone down a couple of roads. I could have gone down a pretty bad, maybe naughty drug road, or I could have gone into a surf road, kind of that scene. You know?
Like a feeling of discontent within you, or
just didn't feel like growing up in that family with dad. God love my dad; he's passed away, right? Dude, I didn't feel like I fitted. I was like, I used to sit at the table when I was a kid, right? Like I can remember being a kid. I was having like dinner with my family. Like I must have been 15 or 16 because I left home at 16, and I looked at the family, mom, my brother, my dad, and I thought, these people are really weird, right?
You didn't feel like you identified with them?
Not at all.
But you love them deeply?
Yeah, no, I love them.
Yeah.
Like, you know. But I just was like, yeah, I never, you know. But then in our surf culture, surf, snow, whatever, skate, I fitted. I'd go to the beach. I'd get up early, go to the beach all day, come home at dark.
Yeah.
Like, and I with the gang, like, loved it. Like, really identified, had fun. Like I'm still doing that.
Yeah. It's interesting. Yeah. I mean, I felt it and I know other people that feel it. And for me, originally it was skateboarding where I found my family.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, this is how I identify with these people. I
call it family of choice.
Yeah.
So not family of origin. And don't get me wrong, I love my family. It's like,
but how do you feel? I mean, obviously your parents would have noticed that you didn't feel like you identified with how they live their life.
Yeah.
Not to say that was right or wrong, but how did they approach you then? How did they?
I don't think they had the skills.
To it. They didn't adapt to it.
No, they didn't adapt. Dad really did. Like he was a banker. He was like, you know. I can remember saying, like, when I used to go out,
I can't imagine you as a banker. I mean, it's the most random thing ever.
Bank robber, you can see that, right? It's like,
I can't.
My dad used to say, I remember hearing him from another room. Mum was worried, you know, and he goes, don't worry, he'll come home when he's hungry. That was true.
Did you? Yeah.
Yeah, because they'd come home to eat, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, they just... different scene.
You said your mum was a yoga person back when yoga wasn't cool.
Yeah.
So she's like, usually those people are more free thinkers.
Yeah, but from that era, like Dad was like the head of the house. Mum in that era, Mum stay-at-home housewife.
Yeah, gotcha.
Like my dad's like the head of the It's kind of not cool. As a kid, I knew that was wrong. I never felt it.
Still like quite conservative.
Very conservative.
Yeah.
It's like my mum ran a course for women back in the day, trying to advocate for women's rights and stuff, and Dad just thought she was a weirdo.
Right. Yeah, that would have been radical.
It was radical.
That's radical back then.
Back then, it was like, and she's always, she's 86, she still mows the lawn at Coleroy, lives at home.
Amazing, dude.
I'm like, how do you start the mower?
Yeah, right.
She goes, I put it on the street and wait for some young chap to come by and say, excuse me, can you start my lawnmower?
Wow. That's so cool.
She's still doing yoga.
Yeah. See, there's a sell for yoga, isn't it?
Totally.
Like a lifetime of yoga.
Totally.
Has yoga ever been part of your story?
Yeah, I did a lot. I had a really bad back injury snowboarding.
Yeah.
And another good buddy of mine was a yoga teacher, and he gave me like a year's free whatever at his yoga center. This guy, really good buddy, raced motorbikes with him, Mickey Barnes. And that really helped me recover from like a L4, L5 disc injury, surgery. So yeah, I was.
So how'd the injury come about?
Snowboarding in New Zealand.
Right.
Just being on the edge.
Wow.
Crazy stuff.
What, just on a jump and land on your ass or something like that?
Just
because that's a common one.
Yeah, we'd been out hiking, and I had a couple of falls, and I tweaked my back, and I just kept going.
Yeah, okay.
Because we were backcountry, and I was in the POW, and I didn't want to. I love the feeling, I love that freedom, that feeling of riding, and I don't want to miss out.
Yeah.
So I just kept pushing, and then the next day was, I couldn't walk.
So I'm just laughing. Like, so you think you get FOMO, fear of missing out?
Oh, bro, it's like
even as a kid, did you have that feeling?
I've got it today.
Oh, dude, I mean that's like driven my whole life, like
Dude.
to the point where it's been so detrimental. Like I've because I didn't want to miss out so badly. Like to the point where it's been to my detriment.
Oh, 100%. That's why I cut school.
Right.
It's like still today, if the bommy's breaking or Ulu, it's like, and I'm at work, I nearly have a panic attack.
I had it today. I've got a tweaked shoulder.
Yeah.
And I was like, and then I had a look at temples, and I went,
no.
It looked really fun, And there's a few bigger ones. I was like, I just went out, and who knows how my shoulder's going to feel tomorrow, but I don't care because I didn't miss out.
100%.
Yeah. And on a complete side note, Nathan Fletcher was out there.
Oh, see.
And I don't fan out very often, but just always really respected him.
Yeah, same.
Anyway, and really nice guy too.
Good guy,
nice.
man.
Yeah.
And look, that's our community, right? I think there is a common bond in that, Yeah. Like you talk to surfers, snowboarders, skate. I believe we've got that stuff running in our veins. We've got that community. And I learned this off Jake Burton, right? When I worked for Jake, and we'd go to sales meetings. And he was an amazing man. Like, some of you guys should watch that letter to Ryder about his life.
Yeah,
right?
is it good?
Man, it is amazing. And I cried at the end, bro, when he died. Because I worked for him for 20 years. And
wow.
he used to get up and say, don't any of you guys ever forget where you came from. And I was like, whoa, what's that about? And he said, this is his words, through the vehicle of snowboarding and surfing, we get to travel the world. We get to meet crew. You can go to America and meet the boys from wherever, and you got an in. You come to Bali, go to Australia, wherever, right? Yeah. And it really sank in. I said it to my daughter. My daughter's had incredible opportunity through my life, through me snowboarding, surfing. That when she went to live in America, I called some guys there. I'm like, hey, my daughter's coming over. Can you look out for her? Any jobs? Yeah, sure. No worries, man. So Jake's words then, and he was so passionate about that, about the sport. Yeah, okay, the guy made a lot of money, but from my eyes, Jake was about the riders, about the surfers, about the sport.
Yeah, I mean, and he also forged the path for the generations after. And that takes so much courage and balls to sort of do that originally.
100%.
So those people I've just got so much admiration for because, we're talking about risk earlier. It's really no risk, no reward. But I guess what's humbling about that is that that it sounds like he was able to maintain that humility when it did become successful.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, in your time, you know, being associated with, I guess, many successful people in their given areas, I mean, have you seen that ego ruin careers?
Absolutely.
Time and time again?
Time and time again. And it's a bit like, look, it's a thing called corporate responsibility, right? Where you get a kid when they're, you know, look at these days now, sponsoring kids 8, 9, 10, whatever. Back when I was doing it, it was probably 13s, 14s. You know, we had a couple of kids in particular we sponsored, and all of a sudden we gave them free boards, free clothing, free travel, free gear, you know, photo incentive. And a few of those guys then, it wasn't many girls then, it damaged. Like they became little, like, cheeky and not so nice and ego and
Entitled
and just like it was kind of crazy, you know. And yet there was others that were cool, you know, like a couple of my good friends are just amazing people. You know, didn't seem to affect them in that manner, but for sure I've seen globally, you know, and we've all seen that with some of our surfers and snowboarders, people that have run into trouble with that and drugs and other things. And, you know, some of the big corporations have a responsibility in that, I believe.
Yeah, for sure. Especially when they're throwing like money and free stuff at them, it would be hard to maintain that original focus, like you were saying. I want to go back, sorry to go off topic a little bit, but I want to go back to, you mentioned that you're a drug and alcohol rehab counsellor.
Yeah.
I'm just curious as to, like, how did you get into that originally? Like, what drew you to that?
That's another crazy story. I was working in, like, sales and stuff, like, and I used to sell tropical fruit, right, when I was a kid.
Yep.
Because I don't like 9 to 5, right? So I got this job at Flemington Markets in Sydney starting at 2, 3 in the morning.
Yep.
So I worked out I could work there, make good money, and come home at 11 and surf. So I did that, but the money was good, right?
Gotcha.
So I did that for about like 7 years. It's how I bought the house at Narrabeen. And but I came over here. I would always come to Indo every year.
When was the first time you came to Indo? What year? Do you remember?
86.
86.
So it was 3 of us used to come.
All right.
Greg from Mossman, another guy, Brian from Manly, and myself. It was a team. We came every year for years and years, you know, G-Land, blah, 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 whatever, Scar Reef, back in the day, you know, sort of, you know. So anyway, I came on a trip. I left the markets and I came over here. And look, this is me being a bit irresponsible because we just bought the house at Narrabeen, like big money then. I think
When you say we,
my ex-wife.
Yep.
Yeah. So we bought, you know, big money, 185 grand for a house at Narrabeen, right?
back in the 80s,
So
that was huge money back
That was
then.
92, I think. Right?
Oh my God, it just sounds so inconceivable.
So, like I was free. I signed at the bank. I signed the thing, and I'm like, bro,
so much
that's
money.
a lot of money, man. We borrowed 100 grand, right?
It's not even not even a deposit,
right? It's
on,
like,
on a rebuild.
And then my daughter had just been born, and then I said to my wife, "I'm going to Indo." She goes, "What?" I said, "I need a break." You know, it's like. So anyway, I came up here, and the surf was really good. And I sent a fax, right? Because in those days there was no phones, you had to book a call at the Wartel down the road, right?
Yep.
To call home, but I couldn't call these guys at the market, so I sent a fax saying, you know, I hereby resign. Please send any money owing to my ANZ account. So I just ditched that job. Kind of a bit irresponsible, but the waves were pumping, right? Crazy. Yeah. So I stayed and surfed.
Yeah.
My poor wife at the time wasn't very happy, but that's probably reasonable. And then when I went back, I was unemployed and I helped a guy paint a house and do some gardening. And because I don't care what, like I've had some good jobs. I've been COO of, you know, Burton, and I worked for Insight, Subi, blah, 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 whatever, you know, brands back in the day. So, you know, I was painting, gardening, driving a truck. And this girl I knew said, look, you'd be really good with the young guys that have got drug problems. She was a nurse at Royal North Shore Hospital. She said, look, you can come and work the night shift and you can surf in the day. I can surf? Yeah. So I went up, got the job. In those days too, it was kind of easier. You didn't have to have a degree in, whatever. So I just met with the head people there, and they kind of liked me, and they gave me this job so I could go and work night shift, which is kind of babysitting.
Yep.
And I did that, and that was rewarding. But this is kind of when Australia then, like the government, there was a bit of money. So they put me through all these courses.
Amazing.
They just paid for my education because,
Amazing.
I thought, okay, I'm going to get an education and work. Yeah. So I went I went to the Catholic University at Strathfield and, got a degree, and I did, many other courses. So I was fortunate. Again, that was through just a connection,
Gotcha.
I wasn't really I did do a job interview, but I kind of had the in already. So I fell into that.
Amazing.
Crazy, right?
But it was at a time too where there was much less focus on mental health, right?
Absolutely.
And it was kind of almost like a taboo subject if you were struggling mentally.
Yeah.
And you were kind of involved in that then.
Yeah.
Wow. So what was your approach with a lot of the people you were working with? Just someone that would listen, or were you giving them advice, or?
Look, I still do it. It's like my approach is like this. I still got a friend of mine who went to that place like, oh, God, man, we're going back, man. It wouldn't be 30 years ago. But the guy came in. I remember seeing this guy standing in the hallway. He was a Kiwi guy, he's a gay guy. And he's freaking out. And I said, man, you look like you need a hug, bro. He said, I do. So I gave this guy a hug. He's never forgotten it.
Dude.
He sees me in the street. He goes, that guy gave me a hug.
Amazing.
For him in his treatment, it was a turning point.
Yeah.
It wasn't a degree.
Yeah.
Like I can remember, seeing people I treated saying, oh, Tim Morris, you treated me, back in whatever day, and thank you so much. You said this amazing thing. And I'm like, must have been one of my lectures where I really laid shit down,
Yeah.
And I'd say, what did I say? And you used to say, do you want a hug? How's your morning? Just simple shit, right? Like just being compassionate, being open, being friendly, being me, right? Because I worked with this American therapist back in the day, came out, this guy Ernie Larson's quite renowned. He's passed away now. But I was working and he used to say, dude, you look all rigid and kind of crazy in your approach. And I said, I'm trying to be professional, right? And he goes, lose that. He goes, be yourself. He said, you cannot work with people and not be yourself.
Yeah.
So it gave me permission, right? And a couple of these health department people started giving me shit, right, about being a little bit too familiar, or I was kind of weird, And I had to use a bit of, Australian policy back on them. I said, are you bullying me? So they pulled out, right? So they left me alone. And I've always had that approach, just to be kind of, and just
I love that.
be human. Like, okay, it's good to have a degree, don't get me wrong.
But do you spin out at the impact that you can make on people with your interactions? And I'm learning it as I get older, how important every single interaction is and how you conduct yourself, because you never know who's listening and you never know who's watching.
Yeah.
And I'm a high school teacher. I still am full-time high school teacher. And what's happening now, I've been doing it for 15 plus years.
Yeah.
It's now I'm seeing these students that I taught are coming back to see me as adults. They're 25 and they're like, and these are kids that sometimes I wouldn't even talk to, had very little, and they come back, oh, look, I remember when you did this and thank you. And, you gave me a kick up the butt for this. And, and I've even got a student that I taught recently. She's now in her sort of mid-20s. When I was working at the Green School here in Bali, she wants to meet me for coffee to catch up. And it's like, I didn't even think she liked me. I thought, I used to give a shit for not doing the work and stuff. And it's like, as I get older, I just take every interaction Like I take it almost seriously in a relaxed way, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely, it makes total sense.
Is that, and that seems like what you were saying, right?
I just think you got to be like the big thing, right? Is what I've learned in my kind of journey. You know, not just going to college or university, is to be present and authentic. Like you need to be your authentic self. Like these days with Instagram and there's so many, you know, it's like a front or, you know, people are trying to be these things and live their lives and it's like, whoa, bro, just be yourself, mate. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's all good. You don't have to be the best surfer or the best, you know, designer or, you know, whatever you want to be. It's just be you. Like there's freedom in that, but it's being present because I learned that when I got divorced, you know, with my kids is to be present. The time I spent with them, because to be honest, look, God loved my dad. He wasn't present. He was too busy working to pay for a house at the beach so we could grow up. So he's kind of caught, right? You know, I know he loved me, but he worked 2 jobs for us to live on the northern beaches. So, you know, if I wanted to be a victim, oh, my dad was never there, you know, blah, blah. Like, okay, true, but you know what? He provided for us. So,
which is very admirable.
Admirable, man, you know. And then I kind of looked at my life because I grew up on the beaches and then I thought I was doing a bit of dad stuff, right? Like, you know, that stuff. I never wanted to be like dad, but I had some of his attitudes. So I knew I needed to change that and be present, you know. Like I said to you before, you know, my dad would shake hands. It took him to be 82, 81 and dying to get a hug, right?
He wouldn't hug you?
No way,
even
bro.
as a kid?
Not a chance.
I'm going to get deep here.
Yeah,
like,
let's do it.
How did that affect you? Do you think there was a long-term knock-on effect from not being hugged by your dad?
Yeah, 100%.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Because I feel it. I didn't get hugged much from my dad.
No.
But I hug the shit out of my son. I kiss him. I kiss him on the lips.
I do that with the kids.
He's 3.5. But.
Bro, it's like I learned, you know, that's another thing about coming to Bali, right? So coming here, we interact with the Italians, the Brazilians, the Germans, blah, 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 Europeans, right? Like I went to the raddest 2 parties last night, right?
I noticed on your Instagram you were hanging out with like all the pros who have just come back from G-Land and stuff.
All the boys, right? And
This
is a funny story because
funny.
like late 80s here, right?
Yeah.
We were here in 89 or something and the Brazilians came.
Yeah.
Yeah. And we didn't like each other. It was pretty heavy in the lineup.
Yeah. That's actually starting to mellow out now.
It's good.
It's mellowed out a lot. I remember that too.
Yeah. So we had this and look, I think we're similar in a lot of ways, right? Brazilians and Australians, except they were more kind of passionate and outgoing and kind of family and the point I'm getting is they hug and they cook meals together and they invite people and you know and the chicks were hot too, like the Brazilian girls, you know, thank God for the Brazilian bikini, but no offense to anyone, but last night both parties were hosted by a Brazilian crew.
Interesting.
Right? And with all the boys and girls going, right?
Yeah.
And they cooked amazing meals for us.
Brazilian barbecue?
Yeah, dude.
How is that stuff, man?
And every one of those crew gave me a hug.
Yeah.
Gave my girlfriend a hug.
Yeah.
Like a proper, yeah?
Yeah.
And all the surfers. And the other thing, you know, is Robbo was there that's just won G-Land. And, you know, his 2 coaches are Brazilian.
Yeah, right.
How good.
Do you think Aussie surfers hated them originally because they were out hustling us?
No, it's because they just paddle up the inside.
Yeah, they're over-enthusiastic.
We hadn't worked out the road rules yet between us.
I feel like that's changed a lot
love
in recent
those guys.
years. Just like, we were just talking, we just had a bathroom break. I had to go, this is a podcast problem. I have it all the time, especially when like I surf in the sun for hours and then drink coconut and water. I feel like I've always...
Hydrate, bro. Hydrate.
If you're not hydrating, you're dehydrating, right?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. I just want to talk about the Brazilian and Australian surfer rivalry that sort of went on for a while there, but I love that it seems like it's mellowed. You feel that?
I think it's good.
Yeah. I like you were talking about the Brazilian culture. I've always found Brazilians socially just so welcoming and kind.
Well, they taught
generally.
me. Look, this is like late '80s, and it's funny. One of my buddies started dating one of the Brazilian girls here, and
Yeah.
so we got to know the crew better than other Australians, and
Yeah.
one of the girls said, "You Australians are weird," and I'm like, "Yeah, well, we know that." I said, "Why?"
Yeah, why?
She said, "Because you live in boxes at home, and in Brazil we go next door to have dinner, and we mingle, which probably happened in early days Australia, but now people don't want to talk to the neighbour, or if you look over my fence, I'm calling the cops, or that's crazy." But I like that aspect of it, and we went to a lot of their dinner parties and barbecues, and so I got to know crew, and it's like this is going 38 years. I don't think it's 40 years. 38 years ago, like this crew are still here. We're still friends. Like,
Wow.
it's amazing. And like last night with the boys and girls up at Ulu, where a lot of them have got places, 2 parties. It was rad.
Yeah, I can imagine.
Really welcoming, friendly, warm, man.
I can imagine. Going back to those 80s days, Bali in the 80s, and I asked Jake McKenzie this too. Do you, it would have been such a different time, like a ladder down into the cave and all that stuff, and it would have been raw, and there would have been a lot of magic, correct?
Yeah, absolutely.
But are you still feeling the same magic? Even though it's changed vastly, do you still feel the magic?
Yeah, dude, magic's here.
Still feel it?
Right here on this house.
See, because I see you as someone that could very easily be bitter. Going, it's not like it used to be.
No
It's
way.
bullshit. It's too much development.
I've got friends that won't come.
And what do you say to those? What do you say to those guys?
I just can't believe it.
Like you're missing out.
I'm like, bro, come and stay at my house. Come and stay for free.
How do you deal with the busy crowd then after surfing like that reef by yourself?
Just, you got to, like anywhere in the world now, pick your moments. Like look for the shift when they're coming out, right?
Yeah.
There's always a shift.
Yeah.
You get the crew that go like first
Early
light, they get out. You get the next crew. You get the hangover crew.
Yeah.
You get the late night crew.
Yeah.
So you got to find a window
Yeah.
and a spot too, where you surf and you know everyone. Because if you paddle out to a spot and they don't know you, you're probably not going to get any waves. But also just wait for it to get bigger.
You think that sorts them out?
Totally.
But don't you? Then you're surfing with anxiety.
Yeah, I love it.
Do you? Do you?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I start laughing.
Really?
Yeah.
When it's scary.
Paddle up a 12-foot bomby set. I got this weird thing.
How do you manage the fear?
Start laughing.
So there's like, okay, suiting up, getting
Yeah.
ready to go to 12-foot bomby.
Yeah.
Like that's usually, in my opinion, the scariest time.
Yeah.
Because once you're in the mix and you're in survival mode.
Oh, once you got one on the head, you're good.
But I think that the worst time is when you're running down the steps, right?
I walk down the steps and in the cave, and
How do you manage it?
Oh, mate, I sit there, put my vest on, and I sit down and I do some breathing,
Okay.
and I just sit there and I kind of do a little, and I'm sort of look. I was going to say I'm not religious, but that's not true. I probably am religious in a different sense. Probably, my girlfriend's a Hindu, and I go to lots of ceremony. I'm probably a Bulle Hindu in a big sense.
I can see your ceremony bracelets you've been to recently.
Look here, I've got to do a Galungan, ceremony. I'm going to make a bunch of stuff, So look, I do some, what kind of prayers maybe? Like I like to breathe to get that, lower the anxiety and lower my heart rate. Yeah. Do some stretches and just take more than a moment just to be like, okay, I'm ready. Let's do this. Still anxious, of course, And then, you're with buddies. I'm always with a buddy, and it's like, it's exciting. And, we look after each other. We've got a real good buddy here, Mark,
Yeah.
We should do an interview with Mark. He's my big wave coach, he's a charger. It's like, he kind of looks after me. He's way younger than me. He's only 48, So,
Youngsters, those youngsters.
Those young guys, man. So, look, there's that whole process, and it's good.
But what about physically? Do you feel like, I know it's saying that age isn't a factor, but physically, does it become a factor when your body's copping that kind of sometimes impact? It's a lot of paddling in those conditions.
look, I'm going to say this, I'm worried about this. My shoulders are good.
Okay.
Like I can still paddle, probably a bit slower. The back injury, I have to do physio, got to do Pilates, I got to do stretches.
So you're working, you keep moving.
Constant. I say this to people, you can't stop.
Can't stop moving. Just can't stop.
You got to keep moving. You can't stop surfing. You can't stop the movement. However you do that, go for a walk, ride your push bike, whatever your thing is. Go snowboarding. Go.
Yeah.
But look, you feel it. Like that's one of the kind of drawbacks of getting older, is a lot of old injuries, and then managing them. It's difficult.
But you're constantly you're being proactive in giving your body the best chance, like Pilates and stuff like that.
Oh, my daughter says it. She's like, Dad, can you slow down? I'm like, I am. I'm going at half speed.
It's so special.
I don't know.
Oh, it's so inspiring, dude. That's my new mission in life. Is I just want to see how long I can keep this stuff going. I don't surf big Uluwatu. I haven't. I've surfed it when it's solid, but not what you guys do. And now I'm more inspired to can I still push my personal boundaries? Yeah,
of course
I talk
you can.
to you. Yeah, I can.
Dude, we surf with Jerry here.
I know.
Amazing.
Jerry Lopez.
Yeah. Amazing.
Would you say you're on a pretty good friendly basis?
No. Just a kind of high, just around it. He surfs up the top a lot these days. I said to him, this is a couple of years ago, I said, what was it like here where we surf? Mm-hmm. And he said, we never surfed here. We just used to surf, the corner or the peak. We didn't even paddle up here. I was like, wow, really? So
interesting.
The guy, another inspiration. Those people in my life, as a kid, I used to watch Jerry Lopez and his style at pipe, and it was just inspirational. Later years, Jake Burton. I've always had these inspirational people that I looked up to, and kind of, I got to meet them both, which is pretty cool, and ask questions. And I love Valentino Rossi.
Well, this is what I find so intriguing about you. You're a full-on surfer, but your influences are from other disciplines. You haven't pigeonholed yourself into, and so you're drawing inspiration from obviously one of the most amazing surfers of all time, but then also snowboarding and motocross. Why motocross?
Not motocross.
Not motocross. Sorry. Road bikes.
It's like the MotoGP guys.
MotoGP guys.
But it was I was at an amateur level, so Phillip Island, Eastern Creek, down at Goulburn, Queensland Raceway.
How does that even come about though?
Through buddies.
So what, you just went, I'm going to start racing?
Well, I've always ridden Ducatis, right? I was that, like my uncle when I was a kid, mesmerised by the noise, the attack. They used to break down, but, whatever. They're kind of nice bikes. There was a bunch of us, and one of my buddies is like, let's just start going out to the track. And I'm like, okay. So we're going to the track. It's expensive to crash a Ducati, right? You don't want to crash one. I've done it. It's 10 grand. So it's let's buy track bikes. Why wouldn't you, right? So we bought track bikes, and then it was well, let's start racing. So we just started racing, and we got, and look, man, and then you got to buy, tires and the right gear and just trick your bikes, and you got to get a mechanic. So, but I love all that stuff. This is camaraderie. This is with my good buddies, we'd go road trips to Melbourne. Same deal, except, we're not surfing, we're motorbikes.
So right? Again, that's the underlying theme for you.
100%.
Camaraderie.
But the thing is with all these disciplines or sports, how I look at it, right, it's all motion, right? So if you look at a line on a wave, right, and the young guys are way more extreme than I am, but I'm taking a nice line down the line, trying to draw stylish, nice lines, I think. I don't know what other people think, but in my head,
feels good.
Feels good. I'm present. The moment I'm not present, I fall off my board. So when you ride a motorbike and you go into a corner, you're drawing a line, right? Similar line, similar movement, and you've got to be present or you crash.
Yeah.
Snowboarding, you're drawing a line or you fall, you know. So it's that, for me, it's probably what I'm saying is it's about being present in the moment. So when you're in that moment, you're like, you're stoked. Yeah, you get that, right? You take off at temples.
Yeah.
Or wherever, you know, take off at Narrabeen, DY, somewhere in Brazil. You're in the moment, you're present, you're stoked.
Yeah.
Because there's nothing else. You're not worried about the shopping or the job or the wife, the kids. It's gone. For me, that is.
That's mental health management?
For me, it's absolute mental health management.
And you think it saves you?
Oh, totally, bro.
So cool.
100%.
Because I talk about this often. I feel like my passions, skateboarding and surfing, which I've done most of my life, yeah, definitely saved me from going to deeper levels of alcohol addiction, drug use in my younger years. Because fundamentally, I wanted to make sure I could get up in the morning to go for a skate or a surf, and I'm so grateful. But you know, what do we say to someone who doesn't have these passions?
Look, I ran a program in Australia years ago with Burton. It was called the Chill Program. So we took disadvantaged kids to the snow and surf at Manly with Matty Granger, who runs the surf school, and some other people. And we did a skate one too with some guys that had a skate park then. And we just offered those kids an opportunity to experience what we experienced. Matt, changed a lot of those kids' lives. Like some of them know, but they got introduced to something that they could do. Right, and I found that amazing, and because with one of the key things, like with depression or something, is to get moving.
Yeah.
Right, walk. Just go for a walk.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas if you and I go to the doctor and I say, "Man, I'm overworked. I'm kind of freaking out," you know, it's like they're going to prescribe you something. Right. That's how society has gone.
How do you feel about that?
It's fucked up. Excuse me.
It's fine.
It's like you know, you can walk into you can walk in one door and they'll prescribe you drugs, right, without taking a history. Or if you're really lucky, you meet someone that says, "Hey, what's up? Like, what's going on for you? Like, where did you come from? What do your mum and dad do? What's your history? Like, have you had do a proper assessment?" You know, like I've been into alternate medicine for 37 years, right? Way before it was popular. If I break my arm, I'm going to the hospital.
Yeah.
That's it. Like here, like at the moment, my back's been playing up, acupuncture. I'm going to see this guy Alex for Chinese herbs. I'm doing a bunch of alternate medicine stuff. Like,
yeah, but what how do you manage it when at times in your life, and I know you've experienced it, everyone does, when the mental anguish is unbearably painful?
Oh, when I went through my divorce, it was just absolutely horrendous, man. Like that brought me to my knees, dude. I was 40.
And that's what I mean. A lot of people go through similar things. It could be death of a loved one, divorce.
Yeah.
And the pain can become so unbearable. There needs to be some respite from that.
It was.
Do you think medication's appropriate then? Or do you think that's where the learning happens?
Look, it's a line ball call. Look, yes and no. Because if you're at a point where you're suicidal or, you know, depressed so heavily, sometimes medication's okay as long as it's managed, right? But you need to have like a good doctor, therapist, confidant, whatever. Because like when I went through the divorce and the kids stuff, and, you know, a lot of people have been through this, family law court, horrendous stuff, right? One of my good friends, a woman, was like, she's like, "You're depressed. Like you're something's up." I was like, "What?" She said, "You've lost 10 kilos. Like you're not surfing. You're like," and I was like, yeah, true. She goes, "You need to go and see a therapist." And I'm like, "What?" Which I did. I went and saw this amazing woman at Balmain, and she kind of coached me through everything. I just had this person every week. Like I had my buddies, right, and a lot of people, but a lot of people hadn't been through what I was going through. They have now because it's years later and everyone's divorced.
Would you say it's less common back then?
Oh, look, it happened, but now I think it's more common.
More common.
I do.
Was it the hardest time of your life?
Yes.
What was the hardest aspect of it? Was it The law, the legal aspect, or was it the separation from children?
Separation from children. Like the money stuff. Look, initially, that was a pain in the ass. And in the end, I was like, whatever. You want to keep the fridge? It's yours, babe. Like, take the skateboards too. I'll buy some more. Yeah. I reached a point of letting go. But the thing around the kids, and a lot of, in Australia anyway, there's kind of a lot of push around, I don't know if it's the lawyers or the courts because they make money, but they use it as
100% that.
It's like a weapon, right?
They weaponize the children.
They weaponize the children. And then, 10 years or 20 years later, you're paying for their therapy.
The kids?
Yeah.
Because of that?
I'm watching it. I've got like about 4 friends at the moment doing it.
I've got questions, but I don't want to overstep the boundaries.
No, go for it.
One thing I will say, I really do feel that the money that can be generated in family law for a lawyer can be problematic to everyone. That's why being a family law court lawyer is regarded as one of the most lucrative aspects of law.
The system's broken.
Yeah, and so that's actually drawing lawyers to it because they know they can make good money.
Yeah.
But aside from that aspect of it, and I know you and I have talked about this on a personal level, now that you're, 20, 30 years on the other side of that.
22? Yep.
How do you feel that your children have fared in the long term?
Pretty good. But there's been 100%. There's been effects for sure. Yeah.
Or is it resilience building, and it's just their journey?
Look, if I want to be all trippy again,
be all trippy.
Look, I'm a big believer. Life will take you where you should go. Like look, again, I'm not religious, but if you want to make God laugh, make a plan. That guy's got other ideas, right?
Have you seen that time and time again in your life?
Again, mate, I go and make a plan. I'm COO of Burton and blah, 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 and I've got a credit card and all this stuff. And then Burton came and did a buyback and made us all redundant. It's like, fuck. But I wouldn't be living in Bali, right? Hello.
In this place.
That's crazy. So it was kind of like I had this plan, direction, whatever. In my life, it's been like that. It's like life has sort of, life takes me. It's like a river. You can swim ashore, have a rest, but the river's going a certain way. You can try and swim upstream. Good luck. You're going to get tired. So I've learned to let go. I've learned, okay, look, at the time, the divorce was heavy. I look back now, thank God I got divorced. Dude, my life is just, I live in Indonesia, Bali, my daughter's here, she's amazing. It's like, it's crazy. My friends now, it's like, got friends all over the world. I could just be living in Narrabeen, bruh.
But that wasn't the original plan.
No, I had the house in Narrabeen, happy days. We bought a tinny. I thought we'd go fishing in the lake.
You had a house in Narrabeen for $186,000.
Yeah,
oh my God,
right?
I wonder what that's worth now.
It's about $4 million.
Oh, easy. Entry
know.
level.
Yeah, whatever. So look.
I love that. Whatever.
Look, I think that's where you need people and mentors. It's like we spoke, like you need to reach out to someone that's been through it, survived, and they can tell you, look, it's good on the other side, right? It's like you take off and you think it's a closeout, but it's not. It's a big barrel. You got to ride the foam ball, and you pop out, and you go, that was amazing. Like, it was heavy, right?
Is this the advice you'd give to someone who's going through it and feels like they can't see the exit to that said barrel?
You need to find the right crew, like your buddies, and open up and talk about it.
Someone that will listen to your broken record?
Yeah.
That's so crucial.
Oh, it's crack record, bro.
Crack record.
Oh, I was like a serial killer.
Right.
I would just go over and over and over with friends. I'd like, bro, you said this yesterday. In fact, you said it this morning. In fact, you said it 5 minutes ago. And then there was a couple.
But you needed to say it. That's the thing.
I've got a crew of buddies that we're real tight with. We're on a WhatsApp group still.
Amazing.
It's still going. Guys in Sydney, and there's 2 of us here, and it's called Team Froth. And it's like, and no matter what, like, it's all froth. And it's like, and look, a lot of it's guy chatter, how's the surf, blah, blah, blah. But a lot of it's like, how you doing? How's the kids? Like one buddy at the moment, the kids divorced, crazy stuff, therapy. Look, it's pretty common.
It is. It is, but just going in line with what you're saying around the talking thing, I think we're generally accepting of the fact, hey, we need to talk. And especially men, we need to talk about our feelings. But I think an extension of that is that when you have a friend going through a hard time, that you need to accept that those conversations can get very repetitive, but they're very necessary. Yeah. And I have an amazing friend. He's my best friend, Mikey. We talk on the phone literally every day. And, sometimes it's about surfing. A lot of times it's about how we're feeling. And when either of us are going through like really hard times, it's like, the same story. Yeah, you told me that yesterday. Yeah, bro. And honestly, for me personally, and I know for him as well, some days I just needed someone to say, yep, okay.
Well, you know what
I've heard this 10 times, but just go
it's
and
trauma.
give you the space.
Bro, it's trauma.
You think it's trauma?
100%.
Is that a byproduct of trauma?
Yeah. So I'm on the first boat into G-Land, right?
When?
After the tsunami.
No shit.
Yeah. We were the first boat in.
On a rescue mission?
No, we went to surf because we're crazy because we thought there'd be no one there because they got fucking taken out, right?
Right.
Do you know how many times those guys told us about the wave?
Yeah.
Every hour, every day, every moment. It was that actor there, John Filburn, whatever, was in, anyway, whatever. But again and again, they relived the wave, right? They just kept telling us it was trauma, yeah? So then when people go through a relationship breakup, a family breakup, it's traumatic, right? So you got to get that energy out. Like if you don't get that out, man, you're going to get sick. You're going to get cancer or, like my belief, right? Yeah. You can't lock that energy up in your body. It has to come out.
Yeah.
And when you're sort of traumatized like that, it's a bit hard to surf and do sport and be present because you're so in your head. So if you can talk to your buddies, like a lot of times I just listen. And then I say, bro, I love you, man. Like, call me anytime. Yeah. Call me at 2 a.m. Amazing. I don't give a fuck. Like, just do it. Because I've done it. And I received, that love from some other dudes. And the girls too. They, don't get me wrong. It wasn't just a guy thing.
Yeah. Yeah, me and my friend were talking about it. Like, seeing a psychologist is definitely necessary. I definitely advocate for getting external help, extra help. There's no doubt about it. There's amazing tools that can be given. But fundamentally, we were talking about, we feel like the biggest healing has come from our conversations, but not just like one of us talking, just the art of listening.
Yeah.
I think if that's a message that I think I want to put out there more, that there's an art to it and just, you can really be of service to people. And I find when I'm helping someone just by listening, man, it's amazing how much positive energy it builds up inside me.
Listening's an art.
And it heals you. I don't know.
It does.
Have you noticed that?
100%. Because it's hard. Because I'm older. I've got life experience. I've been through a lot. I've been to university. I've worked as a therapist. I've worked for the health department. I've done like I'm a genius. I know everything, right? It's like, Tim, shut the fuck up and listen.
Yeah, right.
It's just ego. Like you need, like I don't know everything. Okay, I got credentials. Whoopee. Good on you. Who hasn't?
Yeah.
It's like, just listen to you. Like, just go and sit on a cliff top somewhere with your buddies. Watch the surf. Paddle out. Just go for a walk.
Yeah.
Like, hang out. Like, we had that conversation a while ago. It's like, just listen.
It's a great message. Going on to something more serious. Was managing a surf shop a childhood dream?
Never.
Because I was watching you in action, and I've seen you in there once before. maybe a few years ago before the pandemic. Maybe I can't remember. No. Well, I think last time I was here. Anyway, and I just see a man who's just like talking to everyone, having the best time of his life.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
Crazy, huh?
I know. Yeah.
Well, you know what it's about.
What's it about?
People.
People. Again, like it just really resonated with me that you're such a people
And their
person.
surfers.
You just talk about boards all day.
We talk about boards. Look at new boards. Like, you know.
Does it get old though?
Look, the froth, never. Like, never. Like, it's sort of, I don't know if this is crazy. There's nothing like a new model, right? Like I look at, I love Chris Christensen's boards.
I noticed
see
that
one on the wall, right?
Oh my God.
Because I'm a little bit older. Like, they suit me. I like his deal. He's a snowboarder. He's a surfer. He rides motorbikes. He loves muscle cars. Hello.
Tick.
Tick
You sure
the
it's not
boxes.
you?
Yeah. So I like his boards. And in saying that, you know, I like the other boards too. I've got Channel Island boards. I've got, you know, I've got the new twin pin. I've got blah, blah, blah. You know, I don't want to go on about brands or anything, but I love surfboards. Sharp Eye. It doesn't have to be ours. Jim Banks, like amazing shaper. Yeah.
I seen Jim back just before we came here. I seen him.
Yeah. Mike Wu's doing Kelly boards. You know, like, and you get to meet those guys, ask them questions, talk. Okay, yeah, there's a sale at the end. You need to make money. But I like the interactions, you know. And the thing is now, it's crazy. All the girls are coming in buying boards. No, not with boyfriends, alone. Like, so the girls are coming in. They know what they want. You know, you saw G-Land recently, the level of surfing. It's like...
It's amazing.
So all these people. So, look, again, I've ended up at the surf shop. Again, that's through camaraderie. That's through a friendship. You know, my very good friend owns or manages all these onboard stores, Australia, you know, and the team. And that was just through a link through Burton.
Yeah.
Burton owned Channel Islands for some time. It's been a buyback. That's a good thing. That's just through friendship. Because when I came to Bali, I was escaping Australia and all the drama of, you know, relationship stuff and kids, and the kids had grown up. I just came here to surf.
Yeah.
The boys are like, do you want a job? I'm like, no. I hate working. I fucking always hated work.
Same.
I never liked working, bro.
But it doesn't feel like you're working when you're there.
No.
I could tell.
I love it.
I'm jealous.
And we got a good crew.
I'm jealous.
Like, it's really interesting. Like, the crew that work for Onboard is a good Australia and here. Like, if you meet any of the guys, girls, we have a solid crew.
It's such a long-established company. I remember buying an Almeric from them years ago from their Narrabeen store.
Yeah, from Monavale.
Monavale, yeah.
Yeah, Mel heads up the store there. Like, amazing woman.
Wow.
Like, she is a legend.
Yeah.
In fact, she was like a second mum to my daughter worked there.
Really?
Yeah, Mel straightened shell out.
Okay.
Solid. Family.
Interesting.
Yeah, mate.
How do you feel when a non-blood relative is sorting your kid
I
out?
thought it was good.
Did you?
Yeah.
Didn't feel overprotected?
No, I trust Mel. I think she's a great woman. I've watched her for years. She's like got integrity, solid, like good. I said to her, if she plays up, just fire her. You know? And I said to Cheryl, just do what Mel says. If you don't like it, quit.
Yeah.
Like, you have an opportunity here, make the most of it.
Understand.
And she loves Mel. My daughter's like, they're good friends.
I find that really interesting. Again, going back to being a teacher, sometimes the harder I am on students, the more they like me later.
Later.
And now I say to kids when I'm giving them shit for something they're not doing.
What's boundaries,
I say,
right?
and they need it. And I say to them, like, thank me later. Just thank me later.
You seen the kid in the supermarket with the mum that's screaming and like ripping shit off the shelves? Oh, it's horrendous. No boundaries.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, watch this space. Later on, that kid's going to be like an urban terrorist or a bank robber or in therapy.
But isn't that letting the kid be their authentic self?
No.
Kids need boundaries, right?
Yeah, totally.
You think that?
100%. Otherwise, they don't feel safe.
Bang. Bang.
Yeah. Any human needs that.
Do you need boundaries?
Oh, dude, 100%.
Who sets your boundaries?
Oh, probably work and girlfriend, daughter, my mom, my friends.
Do you think if it wasn't for that job, you could just become like, just completely out of touch with reality living in Bali?
I'd go into a bubble. I'd just surf and get like, I mean, look, I'm lucky I don't drink, right? But I watch it. Like if you don't have a purpose here, if you don't have a goal or a vision or a charity or something, like I love, don't get me wrong, I surf, right? But I need other stuff. And if I didn't have that, I'd just be like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Like
become a burnout, and then you get spat out.
then I get I've seen guys here, Bali's crowded, I hate it. You know, everyone sucks. I'm like, bro, you need a break, dude. I've told guys, go home. Go back to Aussie. Go back to the States, dude.
Gotcha.
I've seen it heaps.
Wow.
It's like they burn out and get jaded, or like there's a psychiatric unit here called Bung Lee up in the mountains. I've seen a few crew go there over the years.
Expats?
Yeah.
Right.
And it's like 1920s, one flew over the cuckoo's nest. I've taken 2 people there. Like they tie you up, put you in a cage, bro. It's like
Straight jacket?
No, rope.
What?
Yeah, dude.
That's still happening?
100%.
To local people?
Everyone,
Expats?
They tied this kid up I took up there.
What?
Yeah, it's like 1920s.
But you admitted him?
Yeah.
He needed to be admitted?
He was smashing his head into the concrete. Like we tried to medicate him, nothing worked. It was kind of like we thought he'd kill himself, so that was the better option out of everything. And then I kind of got a little bit of knowledge. I said to the doctors, give him a big injection of haloperidol. It's an antipsychotic, right?
Yeah.
And they gave him one, and they had to tie him up at first, and then he calmed down. Wow. He's just lost.
Bali's a very spiritual place. The Hindu religion is profound.
Yeah.
Now that you've spent so much time here, do you feel energies?
100%.
Do you see energies?
I don't, but my girlfriend does.
She mentioned that.
Yeah.
She's deeply Hindu?
Deeply. She's a priestess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Give us an indication of when you feel an energy. Is it just like an intuitive sense when you're around someone or when you're in a particular area?
You ever walked into a room and you think something's up?
Yep.
Energy.
So now you're just conscious of it?
Just kind of always have been. Maybe, you know what? I probably think I learned it as a kid in a dysfunctional manner because my dad was pretty overbearing. So I'd come home late and I'd walk into the room and I'd go, uh-oh, I'm in trouble. So I would have been at the beach, right?
You're right.
Because we had to be home before dark.
And the streetlights
But
came
we'd
on.
surf, but we'd surf till dark. So you get home and I'd walk in and be like, oh no, I'm in so much trouble.
Yeah.
Or mum would say, wait till your father gets home, right?
The worst.
So it's like...
It's the worst.
But you do it, bro. I did it. You know what? I did it the other night.
That's anxiety.
Here's a good one, right? We watched the final of G-Land the other night and we're like right down to the wire, 1 minute, 59, 58, 50 what, Jack wins, and there was the Aussies and then there was some Brazilian guys, right? You could feel the energy in the room, bro.
Yeah.
We won.
Yeah. Were they bummed?
They were bummed.
I seen that photo you put up with his trophy. How cool is that?
Look, and look, at that level, I believe we're all capable of feeling energy. Like, you ever gone to ask for your boss for a raise?
Yeah.
Okay, and you walk in the room.
Actually.
Like, you walk in the room and you go, now's not the time. Like, you look at the guy and you go, that guy's or that lady is messed up. And they're like, say, what's up? Oh, nothing. I just thought I'd say hi, right? So you go back when the energy's good.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Because, you probably get the raise.
But do you think you've just built up that consciousness and awareness over your lifetime? Was it always there, but you just were oblivious?
No, I've been interested. I've always, I went to Sri Lanka because I thought Bali was too busy in 1981. Right? I went
in 1981.
I left.
It's hilarious.
I don't know how old. 20, 21. I can't even remember.
Yeah.
I went to Sri Lanka. I went to Thailand, Malaysia, Singapore, Malaysia, Thailand, Sri Lanka. Right.
Yeah. And
for some reason, I was drawn to the Buddhist temples. I'd go surfing. I'd go and hang out with the monks.
Wow.
Just like, I don't know. It was just a thing. Like, it wasn't. I don't know, and I still do that.
Gotcha.
I go to ceremony with my girlfriend all the time. And it's funny because if you said to me in Australia, hey, we're going to church, I'd be like, you what?
Yeah.
I said, sorry, bro, I'm not coming to church.
I'm the same.
But
I
here-
I love a Hindu ceremony.
Dude, you go to Uluwatu Temple on the full moon.
Oh, dude, what's that like?
It's amazing. Like the energy there, the people. Often I'm the only bule, Westerner. Or we go, there's a couple of caves here at Uluwatu. I'll show you one time. They're like it's kind of sacred, secret caves. Original temples, not buildings. You go in there and sit there.
With the carvings into the cave?
No, just cave with Hindu kind of ornaments and pieces and yeah, it's rad. Like we're going off track here, but I was in G-Land the other day on the quickie boat with the boys, and TC was there, and Steve Palmer, who started Quickie and other brands here, jumps on the boat and he goes, I meditated in this cave in the jungle 30 years ago, right? And Tom now's doing all this stuff, right?
He's huge into it, right?
Huge into it. So Tom's like, where's the cave? Steve's like, I don't know, I can't remember. Anyway, Tom finds the cave. There's some great photos.
Just recently in G-Land.
Dude, it's last week.
Wow. And you went with them?
No, I came back. I was bummed. So I thought they're never going to find the cave. So Tom went into the cave, into the jungle, and it's quite mystic. It's not Hindu. It's not Muslim. It's not. I'll show you some photos. They're very different carvings. Wow. So that energy and stuff is like it's about, and I believe Bali's one of those points, on the globe.
Yeah, this time and time again.
We hear it right now. My friends here, the Balinese guys, are saying we're meditating more now, right, to keep the balance here, because there's more bullays, more Westerners, more people from other cultures coming here. So to keep the balance, they're praying more. They're doing more ceremonies to keep the balance on this island. And I felt that when I got off the plane here in '86. I was like, it struck me.
Yeah.
Because I watched a surf movie. I think it was Asian Paradise. And Jerry Lopez says, every year I go to the jungle, to G-Land, to kind of get right, or can't remember what he said. And as a kid, I thought, I got to go there. So I did. And I believe I felt probably what he felt, And I still feel that, like we're saying. Okay, Ulu's is crowded, like there's a traffic jam. But look where I live, it's back from the madness. It's like home. We're in the village here.
Yeah.
It's not really a suburb.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm down. It's like, sometimes my daughter's still like, Dad, you've been here too long.
Really?
Yeah, and then I take her to stuff and she goes...
Why does she say that, though?
Because she comes from like Narrabeen and Coleroy, and she's just in a Western society. And
is it because she sees a change in you, though?
Not the change. I just relay some stories to her at times about things that happen, and just energy or healing, like some healing stuff. And she's like, really? Why don't you just go to the doctor? And it's like, well, no, maybe this might work. But she's been to a couple of things now, and she's like, that's weird. She's turning a corner. I hope.
Sounds like this place has been a healing journey for you in general.
Very.
Like a lifetime healing journey.
Lifetime, because you know what? I always thought I'm going to come to Indo and, I'll go home. Work for 10 years, surf. I'll be old and I'll go home. Well, I'm past that. Like, and I'm here, and I thought, maybe I won't go. I'll go home for a holiday.
Yeah.
Where am I going to live? Like, am I going to live in a $10 million house at Narrabeen or Coleroy? Like, dude, I can ride my motorbike here on the wrong side of the road. I can go up the gutter. If the cops get me, I can pay them off. I don't have to wear a helmet. That's a bad thing. You should wear your helmet. It's like I can surf, drink coffee, live a lifestyle. I don't get a ticket every time I drive down the road.
Yeah.
I don't pay for parking.
Yeah.
I miss my friends.
What about your mother?
Yeah, mum. Yeah, I miss. But my mum texts me every day.
Still close?
She sends me a photo of Long Reef, Colorado every day.
Really? Surf report?
No, just down the beach, it's not sunset, sunrise. Every day. Doesn't miss a beat.
How cool.
Good, man.
So good.
So funny.
I guess like a question I've got for you, Maury, is like what's next for you? Or is this the next?
No, it's not. You know what? I would like to see my daughter. She's doing a brand up here, right? She does women's footwear, Saint Malo. For all you kids out there, like to see her develop that. You know, get a store. Like, you know, she wants to have kids, family. Like, this is like, I'm going a bit Balinese here because, you know, Balinese live in the kampung, right? So you have a compound with family.
Grandparents live with you?
We got the kampung right here, bro.
Wow.
Like, imagine, right?
Yeah.
So, you know.
Is she open to that?
Yeah, she wants to live here. But I said to her, you need to keep that Australia, Bali, you know, up and back open because her friends are there,
Gotcha.
right? So I think that's more ideal than full-time here. You could do 9 months here, 3 months at home is like a good...
You think 1 foot in each?
100%.
Or a toe in one, a foot in the other?
No, look, you know, me as a toe in one, foot in the other. For her, we'll wait.
Yeah.
I don't know.
That concept of the kampung, where the elderly live with you and you look after them. I'm sorry, like I've always found it really strange in Australian society. What do we do as soon as parents get too old?
Oh, you put them in a home. Take the money and spend it.
And then you go and visit them from time to time.
Maybe.
You know, and because my mother used to work in a nursing home when I was a teenager, and I used to go after school. I'd go there and, you know, obviously sometimes just borrow money. Mum, I need some money to go get some food or something. Or then I'd need a lift home. But I just remember walking to those places going like, I'd say to Mum, like, what are they doing? Like, what are they doing? She's like, this is where they come to die, basically.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, where are their family? She's like, they come. And she's like, sometimes they don't, the people here, their family hasn't visited them in months. And I'm just like, I don't know. It's
sad. Like
it's a really difficult concept.
Look, when my dad died, like I was going home from here to see my dad, and we had a...
And no judge. I want to, sorry, Maury, to cut you off.
Yeah.
No judgment, by the way, if anyone listens to this and that's happening. I know circumstances dictate these things. So
yeah.
I'm just sort of analysing the concept of it.
Well, you just want, like when Dad was dying, I was going home, right? And we had a weird relationship, you know. It was a bit, we probably knocked heads a bit, you know.
Yeah.
I love him, God love him. But when he was dying in the hospice, there was all these people dying alone. No one was there.
Wow.
Because I sat with Dad till he died, right? Like I just stayed with him. Had this feeling I needed to stay, energy. Everyone went home. And I was looking in the other rooms, and there's all these ladies and men, and nobody, bro. And I'm with Dad just going, wow. Yeah. You know? Mm. And I don't know if you've sat with someone when they die. You feel the energy go.
Do you?
I just watched. It was so funny.
So you were, sorry to go to, I mean, you were with him when he passed.
Yeah.
What an experience.
Oh, amazing. It was freaky.
So you've witnessed childbirth?
Yeah.
And you've witnessed death?
Yeah, I thought I was a doctor.
So no, I delivered my son. I did.
I'm like, move over, boys. I got this.
So you've seen childbirth and you've seen death.
Yeah, yeah.
You've seen death happen.
Yeah, yeah.
What a trip.
It was a trip, bro. It was like an amazing experience, like honestly. And I was scared and, you know, my dad was old school, big guy, and I was kind of doing this weird stuff because I've had a few friends pass or I've been, and I'm going, it's okay, Dad, you know, you've done a good job. It's time. You can go. Like, you know, thanks so much. He was unconscious, right? I've told this story. He sits bolt upright in bed and goes, what? And I jump. I'm like, whoa, it's okay. Like, I thought he's thinking I'm a hippie or being a weirdo, and then he lay back down, right? And I was like, oh, what?
Wow.
Maybe I've done the wrong thing, right?
Yeah.
But I was just thanking him and, you know, for everything he'd done. And it was like it was like brought a peace and an ending, and I watched him go, and it's real. It's what they do here, right? Mm. You've seen it here when people pass, right? Everyone's around the body. We go to the funeral. We watch the body get burnt. The kids are playing. they're on to the next journey. Like my girlfriend says it. She goes, when I go home, I go, what do you mean? We're at home. She goes, no, when I die, I'm going home. See, for me, I've got this fear around it, or she's got a different concept.
I can't believe you're saying this, because I was going to ask you that, Maury. Like, but we're all born to die.
Yeah.
Like, where are you at with that?
Look, I'm probably
not saying you get
my job is not done. Like, I got work to do. Like, I've definitely got work to do. You know, like with family and friends and enjoyment and travel, and I love. I want to go and ride in Europe again with my buddies. We normally do a tour with 4 of us. We ride through Europe. Hang on, me, Neil, Lex, me. Yeah, 4.
Dukes.
No, whatever we get, KTMs or whatever, So I really want to ride with my buddies in Europe again for a month. Bit of snow time, family, stuff. But look, it freaks me out. I'm not, I've read the Tibetan Book of Dying. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready to go.
I've never read that. Should I read it?
Yeah. Like we had this, I told you before, we had this young kid work for us this week, 2 days ago, 18, a cashier in the store, died in her sleep. And then a really good friend of mine, Janet, passed away the other night. She just dropped dead, like 67. Like, it's just, I've had a big week of like people passing, it's like, whoa,
Interesting.
It kind of makes me think, what is it? Carpe diem, live for the day. Like, enjoy. You don't know,
Don't know what you don't know. One day at a time.
Yeah.
All that stuff. Those cliches, they're cliches for a reason, right?
That one day at a time is probably the best cliche statement ever written.
Yeah.
Like, you can do anything one day at a time.
Yeah. It's true.
Like, if I thought I had got to go to work for the next 30 years, I'm going to kill myself.
Yeah.
But if I go to work just today, it's good.
Would that be your advice to someone who's gone through hard times?
It's one day, bro. 1 hour.
When it's really bad?
1 hour at a time.
Yeah.
1 day at a time. Like, man, it's a mantra.
It really is.
100%.
And it's so fragile and delicate, and it's like surrendering to every day. I've seen a thing, like, since I've been back in Bali, I don't know where I've seen it. It's on some wall or poster. It's around here, actually. It says, you're gifted one sunset a day.
Yeah, I saw that.
I don't know where. I forget where
it's on the wall down near Padang.
Is it? Yeah, I was like, I'd never seen it last time.
Yeah, it's
and I was
good.
like, oh, it's
a good tag.
Good call.
I know.
Yeah.
Like, get to the sunset. Like, there's a thing that I think people have forgotten. There's a light. When the sun comes up in the morning, and other people will know this, there's a certain light that, when you look at it, wakes us up, right? And then when the sun goes down, I think it's a green colour. Someone will know.
The colours in the sunset and sunrise trigger hormones. Is that what you're saying?
Hormones or some response to the human, right? Because we've got so much artificial light and TVs and phones and stuff. So, like, we love going to the sunset. It's one of my big things here. Is my girlfriend and I take the dog.
Yeah.
Or when my daughter's here, you know what it's like up here. You find a spot above Yang Yang or Ulus or Bingen. You sit on the hill and there's so many like kids and people watching the sunset. It's beautiful here.
Look, it's deeply healing. There's nowhere else like it. And yeah. And also, I was thinking about this today from a physiological perspective. When you're in Bali, you are outside more because the weather's warm and you're in the sun more. And I know some people might say, oh, sun protection, but I feel like you just get such a high dose of vitamin D.
Yeah.
Like, you just come to life. That's why and you feel healthier. And that's why I think there's this advent of all these health conscious people moving here. And I really feel like Bali is just a real health holiday. There's almost less partying tourists, more health and well-being tourists.
No, we got pockets, right?
Pockets.
So Ulu's more that. Canggu's like party central, right? It's changed.
But not Kuta. Kuta's still dead.
Kuta's dead, man. That's sad. Like Kuta's. But, I believe there'll be it'll have another life. You wait. Maybe it's going to take some time, but look at these suburbs in different countries where it's a ghetto, and then all of a sudden it's look at Redfern, look at Paddington,
Gentrified.
Something will happen, right? It'll create an opportunity, and it'll change. But at the moment, Ulu's changing for sure. It's getting super busy. People love it. It's not just surfers, right? It's different people, but the energy here, like you said, and I think this is what got us through COVID, right? Yeah. So we had the ocean, sunshine. You're on a scooter on your own. There's no offices. There's no buses, right? So we're all sort of singular, even though, maybe your girlfriend or someone's on your bike, your wife. Yeah. But, we got heaps of vitamin D. Not saying we didn't have COVID, abundance. Right? But we were in good shape here. Like we were watching the media in Australia and going, is that real?
Don't get me started.
No, we won't go there. Let's not do that.
Thank you.
Okay.
Yeah. I have tried to not talk about that on here.
No, we're not doing it.
Thank you. Listen, man, it's been epic. Yeah. Like, I feel like I could just, I don't know, I feel like I need to do a second podcast with you.
Yeah.
Like, we need to do it in parts. Would you be up for that?
Yeah, for sure.
Maybe down the line.
I got time. Look at the time I've got.
I just love being around you. I don't even...
Dude.
It's just something about it.
Imagine if we're in Sydney.
I'd be like, fuck, I've got to go. I'm busy.
Be like, bro, I've got to go.
My parking meter's about to run out.
My BMW X5 is like, it's going to get a ticket.
Or I've got to get to my job that I hate because my mortgage is through the roof.
I've got to go and work with these people I hate.
Or to pay off my mortgage.
To pay the mortgage, to pay the man, to pay the petrol, to pay the...
I know. The thing is, I don't want to be judgy of those people either. I mean, I'm someone who advocates for trying to live your best life and you don't conform and, listen to your heart. But and don't get me wrong, I still have a full-time job, in Australia that I do. But it's like, I want to be respectful of the people that are doing that for those really admirable reasons that your father did the same.
100%.
And for them, and I have to accept for those people, that's enough for them, that feeling that they are being an amazing provider, and they're willing to sacrifice their own desires and interests for the family. I admire that aspect of it.
Yeah, people, look.
But I still want to advocate for living your best life.
Look, it's like, it's like live your life, whatever that is. Like, it doesn't matter. But what I've noticed is there's a lot of families moving here.
I see it.
Like, I've spoken to Australians, Americans, Brazilians. Like, last night, these crew, they're like, oh, what's it like here? We're moving the family. A friend called me from Byron today, from Myocum. He said, bro, I'm bringing the family over. We're moving.
Yeah.
And I'm like, bro, come over, check it out. Rent the house out. Come and see what it's like. Just like, if you don't like it, go home.
Yeah.
Like, good for the kids, different culture.
Oh, my kids thrived. Although they were my son was very young. We moved here when he was like 3 months old.
Yeah.
But he was here for the first 2 years of his life. But I see my daughter now, from living in Bali to back in Australia, her zest for creativity, but also her love of the environment. I don't push anything on her. And this is a little girl that picks up trash and says to me, how can I make art out of this?
Yeah.
And I don't know where that came from,
Yeah.
And, before we left, she was speaking Bahasa Indonesian, and I'm just so glad I was able to just plant those little seeds.
Yeah, but look what you can offer her. Like, look at, it's just like opening doors, man. It's like my daughter,
Yeah.
We open, you offer your kids that wherever you are. It doesn't have to be Bali, it can be Byron. Like, I don't know what, knock yourself out. The world's a big place, right?
It is. It's funny, and I've seen a lot of families with little kids, they're here.
Big time.
Yeah. I think people are tuning in and switching on to, hey, there's got to be another way.
Yeah. Yeah. 100%. It's like, you've got that time, and you hear my parents said it, it'll go quick. Your kids will grow up quick. Like, if I look at my daughter's life, right, 30 years, gone like that.
Don't say that.
But, dude, I
don't want to hear that. I don't want to hear it.
Dude, no, I'm 64 in September. in another 60 years, in another 30 years, that's gone fast, man.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not going to add the numbers up.
No.
But so, you know, what's that old saying that people in Australia on the farm say? Make hay while the sun shines. Dude.
Is that what you're doing?
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you are. I can feel it, dude. I love it. Well, listen, Maury, I ask all guests to come to the podcast with a cause they want to support or advocate for. And just to remind listeners that the causes that guests advocate for, I use a percentage of the Patreon subscription money and I donate to that cause on behalf of the Patreons. So what do you got for us?
Okay, so my girlfriend Naira she's involved in a Yayasan, which I suppose in our terms is like an organisation.
Like a non-government?
Non-government, NGO. Yeah,
NGO,
it's an NGO. So Yayasan's the Indonesian term for orphan children. But these aren't just orphan children; they're kids with a disability. They've been, you know, born with a limb missing or some sort of Down syndrome, or they're in a wheelchair. So it's kind of a pretty bad choice of words, kind of a heavy place to go to with these children. So that's just down here in Jimbaran.
Gotcha.
And they also, you know, do food packages or nasi to people that don't have any food. So she's heavily involved in that, and took my daughter recently, which it was actually good for Shell because it freaked her out. Yeah. You know, coming from Northern Beaches to here and seeing these kids.
Gotcha.
Because they've been abandoned.
It's heavy.
So the Yayasan's in Jimbaran. I can send you the info on that.
So it's an orphanage of sorts?
It's an orphanage. It's a proper setup. I mean, there's many here.
Yeah.
This just happens to be one of many that, you know, lots of people are trying to do good.
Okay.
So,
well, I'll put a link to that in this episode's show notes. So if you scroll down, you'll be able to click on it. You can see how you can donate, and I always advocate for maybe being of service to that. You might be in Bali or Jimbaran and want to go and see if you can help out some way. So check it out, and you can find this episode on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Buzzsprout, Stitcher, iHeartRadio, Podcast Addict, Overcast, and of course, terriblehappytalks.com. But whatever platform you prefer to listen on, it always helps if you subscribe or follow, leave a review. I actually really need the feedback. I want to keep building this and improving. So if you've got some feedback for me, please write a review. That always helps as well. So listen, man, I think we're all done.
It's been good.
Dude, it has been good.
Yeah.
And a big thanks to Onok for shooting this episode. He makes the videos that we put on YouTube. So that's another one too. So I never really wanted to go into the visual aspect of podcasts, but I also think it's just a great way to do my guests the honor they deserve. So you can go and follow and subscribe on our YouTube channel too. There's selective episodes up there, full episodes you can watch and listen to as well. So thanks.
Thank you.
Real good, man. Leave it there. I'm going to go catch the sunset. What about you?
Mate, sunset.
Although the sunsets here must be unbelievable.
Dude, we can watch it from my balcony.
Dude, I've got somewhere to be.
Dude.
All right.
All right, legend.
All right, let's do it, mate.
Thanks, bro.
See ya.
All right.
You. Knuckles. I'm going to hug you in a minute.
Yeah, we need a hug, bro.